Welcome to Keep It Clean for Happier You. I'm your host, Nicky Tomboulides. Thank you for joining the conversation on how you and I can make a positive impact on our environment at home and as citizens. Yes, we can. Here is how. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Nicky. We're continuing our topic, how to save money and reduce waste. We're on location in Durham, Connecticut at 1-800-GOT-JUNK. With a franchise owner, one of them, Nick Bennet. We're so excited that Nick is giving us the time. First, take a tour of the facility, and then we're going to sit down and have a conversation with Nick on the topic today, how to save money and reduce waste for recycling and repurposing and reusing materials. Nick, 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Over 60% of their haul is donated materials to homeless and people in need. So we're so pleased to be here with Nick.
Thank you guys for being here, making the trip. Appreciate it. Really what we do is everything that we bring back or get into the truck, we're trying to find a way to, one, obviously not pay to get rid of it, but also find a new home for it potentially. So as you can see right here, we got a small little pile. We've already kind of gotten rid of a lot of it. It comes and goes pretty quick. We just gave away a sectional couch just a second ago before you guys got here, actually, a really big sectional. Pretty nice furniture right here. There's all sorts of things that people throw away. It's like, it's not just trash. Yeah, we get a lot of antiques, workout equipment, solid wooden furniture, couches, dressers, all sorts of random stuff. You'd be surprised, and like, in reality, that's one of the things that makes this job really, intriguing, rewarding, is that we find all sorts of different stuff. So
this looks like an antique desk. Is this a place that people actually can come, or you just get calls for the donations, or how is this happen?
So typically, we invite donation places to come through here. We're still actually trying to work in finding places that are reliable to come over here and move the product as fast as possible in reality. We do try and, sell some items that are pretty nice.
Worth selling.
Yeah,
because
but
some of them are in an excellent shape.
Yeah, definitely. But some stuff, it's more of like a donation thing. So it's all about, for us, it's moving the product as fast as possible. We have a lot of space, but fill up pretty quick.
And we have a love seat here, actually two. We have leather, lazy boy. Look at this. I mean, these are all in excellent condition.
And this is just kind of the start of us transferring over to this new facility. Like our previous facility, it was constantly jam-packed with really nice stuff, almost like you're walking into an antique store or something. So
this way you're allowed to have more, to put more
here?
Yeah,
we've got a lot more space here. This space over here is more for recycling material. We bring metal back to our shop, fridges. So
I see batteries.
It's more disorganized right now than I'd like it to be. However, we've got just metal stuff. We've got electronic waste. We've got car batteries kind of stack up right here. Obviously, we get paid extra for this type of stuff. However, also on top of that, it's just better for the environment not to just throw it all away, right?
And do they have special places, Nick, that you take the batteries, or is there a special recycling facility you'd put them through, or it's just...
So we bring them to scrapyard, but we sort it out ourselves just to make sure that
they go where they're supposed
Exactly.
to go?
If you would have been here like this morning early, typically in the mornings, our shop is a lot more jam-packed. One of our morning processes is like loading stuff into trucks to divert it. Over there, we've got a stack of mattresses, box springs, all
You have
sorts.
everything.
Yep, all sorts. There was a point in time recently where we had literally 120 mattresses and box springs. Right now, obviously, we've got about 10, which has been perfect timing, actually, because right now, one of the guys here that actually repurposes mattresses for those in need is actually pulling in right now. So he's going to be poking through and seeing if he can't find any box springs or mattresses that can be repurposed.
Excellent, because this helps the environment.
Yep, we're not just throwing it into a landfill to let it, sit there for years and years.
But so you have a relationship with these people that they can repurpose.
Yep, exactly, yeah. So if a mattress or box spring is worthy of it, he'll, recover it and then find somebody in need to actually, use the mattress. So and we got more stuff over there. It's more of kind of the same.
I'm so impressed, Nick, with all the work that you guys are doing.
Yeah, appreciate
to
it.
repurpose and donate materials that instead of dumping them,
Yeah.
You have a great rate of donations, and I can see why. Oh, I see over here there's barbecues, the grills and everything. Oh,
Yeah.
wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, kind of more of the same stuff, antique stuff, some new stuff, some couches, all sorts of different stuff that we get.
This one looks like a butcher block. I mean, you have stuff that they're really in a good shape. There's a chair here.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Yep.
good things.
Definitely.
Tires.
Almost anything you can think of, really, will come through the shop. More exercise equipment, kayak over there.
Very nice. So, if you do not find somebody to donate, Nick, what is the next step? Do you find an organization? Because I have a friend that she runs a homeless shelter, and there's always need for mattresses to furniture, because sometimes they place them in homes and they try to, help them that way.
Yeah, so if an item's not necessarily worthy of resale or is not worthy of donating, then potentially we have to get rid of it or kind of bring it to a transfer station store. But we are looking for as many resources as possible. And so a lot of those organizations that we've had come through in the past, like they just don't have the resources to get it. Like for us, it's more like space is the name of the game. Not really in the business of selling or anything like that. It's more so just get it, set it aside, and just try and get rid of it. So
you can have more coming in.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's your business
Yep.
of removing junk.
Yep.
Because your tagline is make junk disappear. And
Yep.
there is where it appears in your storage.
Yep.
And majority of it looks like it's donated. And I know you're relatively new in this area, in this location, but have you considered opening like some kind of a consignment store or something like this, with the proceeds benefit the homeless, or make a contribution? Because as is, you guys are making a contribution.
I know there are franchises that do that at a really high level, but I would love to do that. You said that you have a friend that is in that avenue. I'd love to bring him in here, and if I can get more space in the shop, I would love to get more space.
And
So.
I will hook you up with the director of this organization that I'm talking about. I'm going to call her and get you the information, because I think it matters, because they're always looking for good products and good materials like furniture or something to give to people that they need to start a home. Because they're just starting new, they have nothing.
And yeah, like I said, space is the name of the game. Yeah, the easy thing to do is definitely to just go and dump it all, right? And so that I do applaud the guys, because they do the hard work, which is bring it back to the shop, sometimes going out of the way to bring it back to the shop, and then offloading it, and stacking it up neatly. So I would prefer not to just throw it away.
Which is so commendable. Look at this. Look at all this furniture. These are beautiful modern furniture that you guys are collecting, that they're very, very impressive. And I'm impressed with your tires, too. These are like big.
Some truck tires. Yep, you'd be surprised. Like every morning I come into the shop and it's almost like a little scavenger hunt. Like, oh, what did the guys bring back last night? And
Nice. I'm very impressed, Nick, with all the haul that you're recycling and you're bringing in. What is that from?
It's like a canoe paddle.
Such an array of material, from good chairs. I mean, you can see good chairs here.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
And this is a huge space, too. How big is this space?
About 11,000 square feet, I believe.
Huge.
So.
I had a conversation with Nick earlier, and I mentioned that friends of mine that are using the service 1-800-GOT-JUNK, they're thrilled because they said they're on time, they do a great job, they're professional, and they do everything just superb. They're the best in the business. And as Nick said, the largest in the world and the best.
That's right. Appreciate it.
And their willingness to relocate so they can accommodate, the willingness to recycle and repurpose material is commendable for 1-800-GOT-JUNK, because they are moved to a new space, new now.
Really, it's more space and more capabilities to recycle, to donate. Yep, and to, amongst other things, obviously, more space to park our trucks. Overall, it's just a better environment.
We're going to sit down and have a conversation with Nick on the topic, how to save money and reduce waste. for recycling and repurposing and reusing materials. Nick, 1-800-GOT-JUNK. You're listening to Keep It Clean for Happier You podcast. To listen anytime, go to dirtdirtgoaway.com. Also, you can live stream online at radio1400.am every Saturday. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Nikki. We're continuing with our topic, how to save money and reduce waste. We're on location in Durham, Connecticut at 1-800-GOT-JUNK. So excited with Nick Bennet. Thank you, Nick, for having us here at your great facility. We had a tour earlier with Nick at the warehouse with all the donating material and recycling and repurposing material that 1-800-GOT-JUNK is doing. Our topic is how to save money and reduce waste. From earth.org, the top 6 environmental issues the U.S. is facing in 2024: air pollution, water shortages, wildfires, food waste, and plastic pollution. And today with Nick, we're going to address the waste for materials and how 1-800-GOT-JUNK is donating and repurposing so many of their haul. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, 82.2 million tons of containers and packaging we disregard in the U.S. in 2018. A little bit about 1-800-GOT-JUNK. The story started in Vancouver, British Columbia by Brian Scudamore. He started his junk removal business in 1989 to help pay for college. Since then, he has scaled the operation to serve Canada, the U.S., and Australia. And Brian is an American-born entrepreneur who dropped out of university in 1993 to focus on rubbish full-time. Now would like to know about the franchise owner, Nick Bennet. We're on location, as I mentioned, in Durham, Connecticut. Welcome, Nick, and thank you for being with us today, taking the time out of your busy schedule. Our conversation is how 1-800-GOT-JUNK offers solutions to help with donating materials and repurposing. A little bit, if you don't mind telling us your decision to join the company, your story.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you guys for being here. I know it was a little bit of a drive, so thank you for the short notice and getting out here. I appreciate the ability to show you guys around, and the new shop, I like to have visitors. So
very nice place.
Yeah, thank you guys for coming through here. About me, started with 1-800-GOT-JUNK. After the military, I bounced around a few, random jobs.
And you're not from Connecticut?
Not originally from Connecticut. No, I'm from Michigan.
Nice.
Western Michigan, small little lake town. Ludington, Michigan. I'll plug the hometown there. It's like about 5,000 people.
Wow.
Northern Michigan, yep. So
no street lights.
Yeah, there's like one gas station, the typical small town. So originally from there, moved to Grand Rapids, Michigan after the military, bounced around a few jobs, and then I decided, why don't I try and get paid off of some, hard manual labor work, and bounced around to, tried applying for moving, lawn care, landscaping, you name it, and ended up landing a position with 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and was kind of going through the motions, working part-time through college the first 6 months, and then the pandemic hit in early 2020, and I decided, hey, why don't I just, instead of trying to find something in my field and my degree, why don't I try and just take this to wherever I can take it? And fast forward 6 months after that, I'm in Connecticut.
Wow.
Took a leap of faith. Moved.
What is your background? What's your degree in?
Communication studies. It's
nice.
Really,
well, you need a lot of communication when
definitely.
You're in business, a person in business.
Definitely, it applies for sure. I just didn't know where I wanted to go. So it all worked out. I ended up moving to Connecticut. Been here since July of 2021, and bounced around to a few different cities and areas. Found home. So it's been fun.
So before Durham, I think 1-800-GOT-JUNK moved from Stratford, is it, or am I wrong?
Originally, there was multiple different locations in Connecticut, consolidated it all down to Middletown, Connecticut, just up the road. That's where we called home for the last, really, 3 years. Ended up moving literally, a couple of months ago to Durham, to this spot, more space and whatnot. Mm-hmm. The Stratford location was one of the previous locations. We actually just...
So you consolidated them to Middletown?
Yeah, into Middletown, and then jumped over to Durham. Yeah.
Because I see that you had such a focus on making this is the headquarters in Connecticut, no?
Yeah, this is the only, we run everything out of this shop. You know? So we've got about 33 trucks, 60 teammates, that you know, we're covering all Connecticut, every corner. We also cover Western Mass as well, Greater Springfield area.
Wonderful. Before the interview, I just want to say to whoever is listening, we're in Connecticut, Durham, Connecticut, and before the interview with Nick, we had the conversation, and I was telling him my friends are using 1-800-GOT-JUNK, and they love it. They used it a few times, and they love the service, they love the people. The quick response, you respond within a day, I understand, which is fabulous.
Yep. We have a really, you know, one of the greatest things I'd say about our service is how fast the turnaround is. I mean, literally as we speak, we have teams in every corner of the state and Western Mass. If a job adds on for this a same-day service, we can usually get there in a matter of an hour.
Unbelievable. Can you talk to us about the process of recycling and repurposing your haul here in Durham, Connecticut? What is the process? Like, who decides what goes for junk and what is to be processed as donations or recycling? Because we saw, by the way, the previous segment, we had Nick showed us the warehouse and all the donations and recycling materials. Actually, a truck was pulling in to pick up mattresses that they process and recycle and donate.
Definitely.
So
in terms of you know, the donation recycling process, who makes that decision? It comes down to mostly our operators and our truck team members. They're in constant communication while they're out in the field, and you know, it's really more so in the infant stages right now with the move. But in reality, like, what we're trying to get to is anything that could be donated makes it back to our shop. That's you know, in a perfect world, to where we can separate it out. We have the space now in the new shop to be able to put a bunch of things aside.
And the shop, just so, even though you mentioned it already, how large is the warehouse now?
The warehouse space is about 11,000 square feet. So
fabulous.
We have plenty of space, you know, room for activities.
You make decisions and then they bring them.
Yeah, I mean, it's not always perfect, but the way that it works is, you know, a truck team member calls in and they say, hey, we just quoted this job for X amount of volume. You know, there is this portion of it that is donatable. What do we want to do? And the operator's job is to then decide, hey, can we get that back to the shop so we can put it to the side to potentially find a new home for it, potentially, you know, do some sort of resale with it, or recycle it differently, you know, depending on the material. Yeah.
So the decision is made right there.
Yeah, exactly. So
with the communication with the office staff.
Yeah. I can give you an example. Yeah. Yesterday, one of our teammates called in. They said, hey, they quoted it a full truck, right? They're filling the whole truck up from this job. It was, you know, about 90% of it got back to the shop. We offloaded that whole truck into the shop. Some of the stuff that you did. I'm
telling you, the Antique Roadshow should come visit here because they're beautiful, wonderful things.
I mean, every day I'll go out and I come into the shop and I'm just like, wow, like, we actually, you know, it's beautiful to see stuff come back that deserves to come back and that we can find a new home for. And before you guys had pulled up, we had, you know, a couple that came through that needed a couch that we gave them a couch and I think a coffee table and a
lovely.
Enough to furnish like a 1-bedroom apartment. Really, they just came in, they grabbed it, and
so it's so good to know. Do they just can walk in or give you a call to the 1-800-GOT-JUNK, or how is the process of donations if it's not an organization, Nick? What is the donation of individuals? Let's say I'm in need of a table. I just moved in the state and I don't have anything or any money, and I need basic furniture.
Yeah, at this point right now,
you're not ready for.
We're not really like bringing people in.
Yes, I understand.
There are some franchises that I know of that have, you know, scaled to that level. They bring their donation level to new heights where they have, you know, they actually have opened their own storefront. Or
this is what I talked to Nick before anything in consignment level and you say it's possible that you're open to everything.
I would love to get, you know, obviously like our priorities are taking care of our customers and,
yes,
and
absolutely.
Space, but like that is a branch of the business that I would love.
It's worth exploring,
yes,
no?
Exactly. There's obviously there's also like potential savings for our business if we're able to dabble in that, and there's also like it's a whole other side.
Yeah.
So.
Now I have to ask you this because it's always, in a way, I know some of the answers, but Nick, you know it better because that's your business. Because you do residential and commercial. Mm-hmm. Now, on the residential side, I will ask you about the commercial too. What does the hall looks like? Like, what's the most frequent calls you get? What comes to mind is death for me in a family, downsizing, moving people. Some people need to get a larger home because their family is getting larger. Mm-hmm. What are the calls that you're making, and what is or sometimes, somebody is a hoarder, which is a medical condition also, that you guys also are welcome to that?
Yep.
You take care of everything?
Yeah. Yep.
Yes.
So, I mean, really anything under the sun,
Any challenges?
Any challenge. I mean, we pride ourselves in solving problems. Majority of the time, it's removing items to solve problems. But majority of those problems all come down to like really one of three things. It's either a time issue, a space issue, or an effort issue. So, moving's probably number one if I had to guess. Like either downsizing, moving out of state, or just down the road. There's a lot of things that people accumulate, and when they jump to a new spot, they usually are looking to get rid of some stuff. So, but yeah, all those things you mentioned are definitely things we run across.
So death in the family, there's a lot of things that happen. Can you talk about the donations on the commercial, not donations, rather, the commercial side of the business? What kind of calls you get? What kind of haul you have from the commercial side? Yeah,
so right now, commonly it's, property managers. It's kind of along the same lines of people moving in and out of apartments.
Oh, I see.
Or
I see. It's not companies per se.
It is companies. About 70% of our business right now, 75% is residential.
Okay.
That 25% is a very healthy amount. Other franchises, it differentiates. That's one side that we're really trying to get into, though, is not getting away from the residential side. But there's obviously like reoccurring business that can happen through commercial businesses. Like, if you're able to partner with a property manager that consistently has pickups that they need on a weekly or monthly basis, it could be huge for
interesting.
Us. So, that's I know businesses that have that, and it goes through the whole year into the winter months where we do potentially slow down a little bit. That's something that we really are trying to find.
So it is commercial, but it's under the umbrella of homes.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, but it's managed, like you mentioned, the property manager, Nick.
That's just one example. I mean...
but it's not companies going out of business. But even so, you will take care of those too,
It is that as well. I mean, those are maybe a little bit more rare than the property manager or the realtor stuff. But, we have national contracts. So the national contracts could be, we've done jobs recently for like TJ Maxx, for example. Mm-hmm. They're closing down a store. Every fixture in the store gone. And we'll go in there and we'll wipe it clean. Major projects like that, or commercial real estate is kind of at a weird point right now. So people are selling or buying right now, or a big one for us was during the pandemic, and even currently, people are working from home. Commercial real estate's changing in that aspect to where they're not actually going to a spot to work; they're working at home. So they're liquidating that, the commercial.
Space.
We're going in there, we're wiping that clean.
Because actually, you are right. A lot of spaces now, especially in New York, that they're trying to somehow convert from commercial to residential. I'm not so sure because they have permits. I was reading an article about them. That is very, very important for them to see because there is so much empty space. So your point is right. A lot of people are working still from home because COVID did a lot. We suffered, and also people realized, gee, I can work from home. After all, why should I go to the office and drive all this mileage? But at the same time, a lot of local businesses suffered because of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Nick, that happened. Is there one material, I'm extremely curious about this, that is very popular and sought out to repurpose and vice versa? Like one material that you guys love to get as a whole, like maybe steel, maybe something, or a material that you guys hate to pick up as a whole?
You mean
Is there one?
in terms of like when you say like our favorite? I think
Maybe that you can resell. It has value somehow.
I guess something
directly.
Yeah, something like that would be like easy stuff to donate, or that like a hot commodity. Couches are a pretty, and they're expensive in reality. Like if you look at a new couch, they're thousands of dollars a time. You can get a decent couch on a lot of our jobs when people are getting rid of them. So that would be
remodeling
a good one.
or whatever they're doing. Yeah.
So that solid wood furniture, that's always going to be something that people are looking for. Workout equipment, right now we're getting into the winter months, so if we got a working treadmill in, it'd be pretty easy to get rid of that. So
is there an item you will never touch?
I mean, besides kind of like the obvious, like dangerous stuff.
Yes.
I mean, they're really the only things that we try and stay away from. Besides the obvious stuff would be gas, oil, wet paint. Those are kind of the more touchy ones that we try and stay away from. But in reality, we'll try and find a solution for any customer that calls us out. Whether that's us or helping them find where to take the stuff. So.
Do you have a relationship with other places like that they would take hazardous materials? Let's say we had an interview with somebody from the government, and he said, do not put in a recycling bin, not that I've ever heard of somebody doing it, guns, ammo, or somebody said knives, not to do that because the knives are getting caught in the machine that when they put them through the processing. So do you have any sort of materials that you absolutely don't touch?
Yeah, I wouldn't have my guys touch any guns, that's for sure. Whoa. In terms of like hazardous stuff, I would never want our guys to get anything that would put them in harm's way. Anything like that, like use needles, or like there's other companies that might maybe be more equipped for that.
When it comes to that, Nick, how do you approach it? What's your approach? Let's say you come into a space and you see people moving and they have tons of not so safe materials. What is your approach, and how do you handle them? Do you walk away, or do you say, listen, this stuff is in the corner, we can't touch, I'm sorry?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably closer to the second one in terms of, if it's a large project and they have a handful of stuff that's just unsafe for us to handle. It would, letting the customer know that, we're giving them a quote on everything else we're able to do, knocking that out for them, and then helping them find a solution with stuff that's maybe we're not able to handle.
That's so important. I love what you just said. Helping people find a solution for the stuff you cannot pick for them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
because you're assisting them in that way, but you're saying no for this because this stuff, it's too dangerous or whatever.
Yeah.
It's something you can't handle.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it makes sense. Now, this is a personal question. What is your experience in the secret to own less junk? Because we love to buy. We're a consumer society in the United States. I'm from Greece, and we don't buy as much because the country's small and you wouldn't know where to fit it and where to put it. But in your experience, what is the secret of people owning less?
Well, I'd say one secret would be I could take whoever is struggling with that out on some jobs, and they could see that, they'll see that in real life, So like me, for example, especially before I started this, when I was younger, I was more that way in terms of like inquire. Like I'm not perfect by any means. I love certain things. How through working in this industry for almost 6 years, I've realized that like it's not worth it. It's not, the clutter isn't worth it. My house isn't by any means like perfect or spotless, but I think the secret sauce in terms of having less stuff is I like to just kind of organize stuff in terms of, do I use this on a frequent basis or not? And if I haven't touched the thing, or it's not pretty to look at, or if I haven't used it in 6 months, it's probably time to part ways with it.
But I think when we had the organizers, when we had them as guests, they were mentioning, one of them was saying he bought this hockey gear, because he wanted to play and he thought it was great. And then suddenly he found himself that he spent all this money and he couldn't get rid of it because he's like, my God, I spent so much money. He ended up donating it to a little girl. I think that's what he said. Mm-hmm. But when you spend money, it's very difficult to part with an item that you know you spent a lot of money for. Mm-hmm. So why don't you start by not even buying it to begin with, rather than saying, gee, I can't get rid of it.
Yeah.
The Business of Less, Ronald Geyer, he wrote The Role of Companies and Households on a Planet in Peril. He writes, as a people, we should buy less stuff. I mean, I don't think, frankly, in my opinion, that 1-800-GOT-JUNK will keep growing and growing and growing because you guys are a wonderful company, and we will never stop collecting junk as people, you know, because we're a consumer society. I'm not so sure, though, in Europe you'll be as successful as here because, as I said, not only we don't have as much money, but we're not a consumer society and we don't have the space. You know, the homes that they're in Europe, it's like one bedroom here. You know, it's small space. So it's very difficult to find room for a lot of the things that you have. And I think quality also matters. That we have to produce things that are better quality, that we don't discard them right away.
I would agree with that for sure.
You know? So in closing, do you have a final quick tip, a gem to share with our listeners, something that we can take away and say, gee, this is a great thought?
I mean, my final quick tip would be, you know, if you find yourself where you're, you know, stressed out because you have too much stuff in your house or your attic, basement, garage, whatever it is, give us a call. I mean, we can, you know, you'd be surprised at how much stress would be relieved by just getting rid of the stuff in your basement that maybe you never look at. But just knowing that you have a clean basement, it's going to relieve some anxiety, some stress from you. You know, it's like the feeling of, you never know the stress that it brings on you when your clothes are all over the place, your room's dirty, so until you actually clean it up. Right, so give us a call, and we'll be happy to go into the basement, go into the attic, and get you some stress back.
So you heard it from Nick Bennet, 1-800-GOT-JUNK. Give them a call. They will take care of your junk and your stress. So it's a twofer. My quick tip for today, buy less. And I have to follow my father's advice. If you buy with cash, you're going to certainly buy less. And we came to the end of this segment. Join us next time on more on how to save money and reduce waste. Bye for now. We came to the end of the show. Keep it clean for happier you. I'm your host, Nicky Tomboulides. Together with my team, we're working on more exciting conversations on how each one of us can make a difference at home and on a global scale. Yes, we can. Bye for now. Opa.
At Keep It Clean for Happier You, we'd love to hear from you. For your comments and questions, use contact form at dirtdirtgoaway.com. We will be here every Saturday. Tune in to Keep It Clean for Happier You podcast. You can live stream online at radio1400.am every Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. and listen anytime at dirtdirtgoaway.com.